What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 310 EDU YouTube channel. This channel here is dedicated to education, to the 310 EDU website, and to all the things we have to offer to try to help you further your skill set with your rope. So next month, I got a ranch roping clinic coming up in Elm City, North Carolina. So I'm going to start practicing on the dummy quite a bit each week to try to get all my different shots dialed in. So when I go to that clinic, I'm feeling confident about it. So anyways, today I figured I'd just let you come along with me while I practice. I'll troubleshoot my misses and talk about the catches and kind of go through how I like to practice to get ready for these events and stuff. So we're going to start right here on the dummy. We're just going to start with a forehand turnover and kind of get that dialed in, see how it's feeling. That felt pretty good, honestly. Not much to say about that one. I really like for my forehand turnover to make contact with the dummy, not only from the back to the front, but from the top to the bottom. If it comes down really hard from the top to the bottom, it gives you a really good blow through on the tip of your rope. And so that's what I'm looking for, especially on bigger calves. I really want it to come from high in the air and slap the back of that dummy so that the tip fires through there. So that shot's feeling pretty good. We'll move from there to a karate chop. And I say this at all the clinics, but you really can't rope the dummy on the ground enough, in my opinion. It's such good reps. You know, roping from your horse, a horse that's young and doesn't know, is a really good thing. But I personally just love roping the dummy on the ground. So there's also that same weekend as the clinic, they're having a ranch roping competition, a 3-man ranch roping, that they've asked me to judge. Uh-oh. I threw that a little bit too this way instead of straight down at the target, and that's kind of why it fanned off of there a little bit. But anyways, that ranch roping competition, I'm going to be the judge of that. And sometimes in those things, if you end up in a spot where your team doesn't get the calf healed, the judge will come in and heal the calf. And this karate chop and a normal, standard hip shot is probably going to be my go-to for that if I end up having to heal some stuff, along with just a regular old trap. But just because at that point the calf's already been roped for a few minutes and it's probably time to get her done, get the calf laid down. So I'll probably practice this karate chop quite a bit. It's a backhand swing with the delivery. You're just going to pull the tip of that rope down and release it in a way that it travels standing straight up in the air, and you just want it to slap. Kind of the target for that shot is going to be the flank area, and when it slaps, the tip of that rope will just kind of shoot through there, and you'll have you a nice big hip shot set. All right, so from there, we'll go to the Delvento hip shot. I probably won't throw this very much, but it's just kind of a fun one to practice. Oh, Marcial. That was no good. So right there, I started my delivery too close to the calf's butt. I needed to fan it out a little bit more. That way, when it makes contact with that hip, it goes in between its legs and not in front of its legs. Like that. So that time I kind of threw it a little further out to the right. That's a pretty fun hip shot to throw if you're messing around or whatever. It's not super practical, but it is a fun shot to practice on. I can move my body this way a little bit and then throw it a little more direct. So that time, when I let go, it's pretty cold here today. My fingers kind of got crossed up and I let my spoke go, but I had it going in the right direction, so it ended up hitting anyway. Normally, I don't let go of my spoke on that shot. All right, so from there, we'll practice a couple head shots, just a standard tip over. I'm going to tip that rope over my left-hand shoulder. I want to deliver to where my Honda hits the calf's shoulders, and we want it to figure eight like this on the other side. And what that figure eight does, is it keeps the calf from running through it. The smaller the calf is, the more important this is, especially when you're throwing a big loop like this. Figure eight, pull the slacks, good to go. That one feels pretty good. We're going to go from there. We're going to throw a little scoop loop from this side. Least favorite shot, hands down, no question. It's my least favorite shot. very rarely throw a scoop loop. And that's why. Couldn't even fish it on. So right there, I was just looking at the calf's nose instead of its shoulder, trying to get it to figure 8. And it's just not a great shot for me. I don't like shots that travel from the ground up, or anything from the ground. So a sidearm, a scoop loop. I like a hula hand or a tip over because it travels from the sky to the ground. But we'll try a few more of them. We got to at least catch some. See, and that catches the dummy, but it's a terrible shot. It doesn't go through. It doesn't figure 8 on the other side. I'm just not great at it. That calf, depending on the size of the calf, would have probably run through that. And I've caught calves with it before, of course, but it's just not one of my favorites. But I always practice it because somebody wants to learn it, you know. Once again, like that calf is running through that loop. Garbage. We'll keep practicing that over the next couple of weeks so I don't get beaten pig while I'm there. All right, from there, we'll set the dummy up like this. We'll practice. We always teach running shot angles because if you're going to be a good cow hand, you got to be balanced. You need to be able to run the calf down, and you also need to be able to catch the calf standing, in my opinion. So we're going to practice. We're going to put some dip in our loop. Top knot them. Terrible. So right there, I just fanned my hand out a little bit too much and flattened my loop out. And when you do that, you're going to rope their ears every time. So this time, for practice sake, I'm going to put a lot of dip in my rope, like I'm standing up in my stirrups, and I'm going to pick up, top knot them again. This is one of the harder shots to throw on the dummy. That your typical calf roping shot can be pretty challenging to catch on the dummy and in real life when you're running directly behind a calf. So let's see if we can do it right this time. I want that Honda to hit right in the middle of his shoulders, just like that. That's what I'm not really concerned with it roping the whole dummy, because if you had a big calf, or really any kind of calf, when it figure 8s like that, you're not going to have that trouble. So, but that's what we want it to look like. We want it to hit and figure 8 out in front of the calf's nose. Just like that. That's better. So we're also going to teach the opposite side angles at the clinic. So we're going to be off the left hip, like if you had somebody hazing for you. You're just going to throw the same loop, except for instead of putting dip in it, you're going to tip it over that left-hand shoulder, and you want it to figure 8. That's probably my favorite running shot. And then same situation from this side. If the calf's rolling out in front of you here, you'd be running behind them. You don't want to. You want to have your angle more of a sidearm angle, and you want it to figure 8 on the other side. That's what you'd be looking for there. So from there, while we got the dummy set up how it is, I'm going to go to just a traditional heel trap, which we always teach at the clinics, because everyone should know how to throw this shot before they can throw any of the other ones. So with that poly, right, I'm going to want to slow my delivery down. You can swing it as hard as you want, but when you drop it in there, you want to slow that delivery down a little bit, and you want to keep your spoke. That's what holds your loop open. So if I drop that, if you can see, it drops to the ground. But if I hold it up, my header will take the slack, and I'll catch 2. So always remember that if you're roping with anything but a nylon, honestly, like a cotton or a poly, as you deliver, slow that delivery down. It opens that rope up, and keep your spoke and hold your loop open. All right, we'll practice the other side of the calf. So I'm going to throw a standard hip shot. This is another shot I'll use as the judge in that deal if I got to rope something. Once again, I'm not there to be fancy. I'm there to get the job done if I got to get my rope down. So we're just going to get off this hip and throw that rope with the target being the flank right here. Excuse me. My target's my flank, and I want my rope to travel in the air like a pancake, just as flat as can be, and it just splat. There it is. A huge part of roping the dummy on the ground is being able to troubleshoot your misses. And here's a quick tip for you. If you're roping the dummy on the ground and you're missing short and you're right-handed, okay? So if I throw this shot right here and my rope misses to the left, that's a left-hand problem. That means you're not letting enough rope out of your left hand for the loop to travel unencumbered to the target. So there's just a little quick tip for you if you're out there roping the dummy and all your shots are shooting to the left. That's because you're not letting enough rope out of your left hand. Same goes for a left-handed roper. If all of your shots are shooting to the right, same problem. And you just reverse that if you're going to swap to a hula hand, right? So we'll do a forehand turnover headshot. Oh! So there, my aim was just off a little bit. No big deal. I just threw the rope a little too direct at the target and didn't allow for enough turnover like space. So this time we'll throw it a little further right, and we got her caught. So sometimes that's just, you know, getting warmed up or whatever. You'll throw it in the wrong spot. No big deal. Backhand turnover hip shot. It's a really cool shot. So right there, that's terrible, really. It was traveling. I threw it a little too whippy from this way to allow the tip to come through. So this time what I'll try to do to adjust for that is I'll have the same size loop, but I'll try to throw it higher. For a headshot, that'd have been fine, but to get it to slap through under the hip, we want to throw it higher. We're going to quit on that one. That was beautiful. That was about as good as it gets right there. So, let's see. Any other shots? We'll do a backhand trap real quick. Then we'll throw some hula hands. So that's another one I'll throw at the clinic and at the roping probably. If you end up on this side of the calf, you know, this is the opposite end from this is the opposite end of the calf that a right-hand roper can approach for a heel shot. So all you do is swap to a backhand and just split that tail head, and it'll shoot right through there. That's a really great heel trap to have at a Brandon or Doctrine, anything where you end up on this side of the calf. Okay, so from here, we'll just practice a little too cool hula hand on the neck. Kind of back it up a little bit here. Maybe the camera can still see me, so that's about 2 cools. This is one of my favorite shots. If a calf's walking in front of you like down the fence, you're going to throw a flat hula hand. You just got to be on that slack because that shot is not going to figure 8 usually. So when you're throwing that far, you got plenty of time to reach down and get a hold of your slack. And I'll say this, when you're roping the dummy, pull your slack every time. Muscle memory is a thing. So when you're throwing that far, it's kind of like a 3-point shot in basketball. While it's in the air, you got time to get that slack. And as soon as it hits your target, you be pulling it. As soon as it hits that target, you just wham. Because you don't want them to jump through it. And a lot of times when you hit them from that far away, they'll like jump up and try to, you know, it spooks them. They run off. Be quick getting to the horn too. That's when 60 foot is awful nice. Okay, we'll try one more hula hand. One more little hula hand. So this hula hand would be a left to right delivery. The calf's traveling left to right in front of me, down a fence or in between me and another roper. That's about 2 coils there. So this one, you're going to swing more of a sidearm, right? If you see the angle change. And you want it standing, you want it flying in the air like this, not flat. If you throw it flat, you'll catch their ears and be pissed. So that was not very cool, was it? Here we go. Got us 2 coils here. Try it again. These last 2 shots are probably 2 of my favorites. Oh my gosh, I don't know why. That was terrible. Unsubscribe. Oh man, that was trash. Uh-oh. Got us a little figure 8 action going here. What the heck is going on? There we go. Lots of times with these polys, man, that Honda, when you're throwing all these wild turnovers and stuff, that Honda will get a little twisted on you. You got to kind of fix it. Okay. Back in action. Do a little smaller loop this time. And then try to catch for my last shot here. 2 coils. If you're trying to learn these shots, great resources. A great resource is 310edu.com. I have all these shots on there. If you have questions, you can email me directly. I'd love to help you. But yeah, so hopefully we'll do more content like this. We're just roping the dummy and visiting about misses and catches and all the different things. That's kind of my goal here with the new channel, is just try to help you guys as much as possible get better at your craft. You know what I mean? So if you got any questions, leave me a comment below. I'll make you a video. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell. Make sure you get notified every single time we post a new one. And we appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video.